All right, today we're going to be going over y equals mx plus b. You're going to take the blue paper that you grabbed from the front of the room and you're going to go ahead and cut along the dash line and glue it on page 10. We're going to go ahead and start with y equals mx plus b. So the first thing we're going to look at is the value of m. Go ahead and shade the letter m so that we can go ahead and talk about that one first. The letter m is what we went over yesterday, which stands for slope, unit rate, rate of change, and rise over run. The letter B is going to stand for our y-intercept. So B is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So y-intercept, where graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, so today we're going to be using lists and spreadsheets where we type them in, our x's and our y's, graphing them on the data and statistics, and we're going to be getting this trend line that goes through our points. We're trying to figure out y equals what's the equation, and to do that, our steps are right here, which is menu 461, and we're going to go over how to do that. All right, problem number 1. The graph of a linear function is shown on the coordinate grid. What are the slope and the y-intercept of the function? We talked about slope yesterday. Your slope is going to be your rise over run. You need to pick two perfect points going through the graph. So I would pick where it starts at 2, and then looking down the line until I find another perfect point would be right here at 4, 1. So rise, it's going down 1, which means -1, and then it went to the right 4 spaces, so that's +4. So that means my slope is going to be -0.25. -1/4 is -0.25. Okay, next, it's asking us what is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So remember that the y-axis runs up and down, and it's going through +2. So the way we write that as a coordinate is the y value is 2, which means that the x has to be 0. So it goes through 0, 2. Problem 2. A linear function is represented on the coordinate grid. What is the slope and the y-intercept of the graph of this function? We'll go ahead and start with the y-intercept because that one's the easiest to see. If we look at the y-axis, we're trying to figure out where it crosses. It crosses right here at 5. So the y-intercept has to be 5, which means that A and B are both out. Next, we have to find our slope. Remember that our slope is your rise over your run. So rise is, if you look at the 2 points that were given, we're counting down how many spaces and across how many spaces. Okay, so it went down from 5 to -2, so it went down 7, that's -7, and then across 8, +8, because you went to the right 8. So that means my slope is -7/8, which has to be C. Problem number 3. The graph shows the relationship between the number of gallons of fuel remaining in a tank of a semi-truck and the number of miles traveled by the semi-truck. Which function can be used to find y, the number of gallons of fuel remaining in the tank of the semi-truck after it has traveled x miles? So here we're trying to figure out what is our equation, y equals mx plus b. So we need to find first the slope, and then we also need to find our y-intercept. So our slope, you can see that it starts at 240. We're going to look for another nice perfect point, which is over here. So again, yesterday we talked about rise over run. It goes down. It looks like 1 space, but be careful because you want to pay attention to what they're counting by. Since it's going 30, 60, 90, they're counting by 30s. So it went down 30 and then across this way 300 because each one is going by 50. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, so this is 300. Okay, so if we simplify this in our calculator, we would go to our calculator, -30 divided by 300, and our slope is negative 1 over 10. So negative 1 over 10x plus the y-intercept. If we look at the graph, we're trying to figure out where it crosses the y-axis. You can see that it started at 240, which means that this number has to be 240. So that means my answer has to be J. It has to start at 240 like G and F, and then my slope was down 1 over 10. Problem 4. Which graph represents y equals 3x minus 3? So here we want to have a y-intercept at negative 3. So that means that if I look at the y-axis, it has to cross right here at negative 3. This one crosses the y-axis at 5, which means this one's out. This one also hits at 5, and this one crosses at negative 3. So these two graphs are both crossing through negative 3. Next, I want to check that my slope is going up 3 over 5. So up 3 for your rise. Run means it has to go to the right 5. So up 3 and then to the right 5. B would be correct. If I look at A, it's going down and across. Another way I could check this is I can go to my calculator, go to my graph, and I could type in my equation, which is 3/5 x minus 3. And when I type it in, I'm looking for this graph, which one matches over here, and it has to be B. Problem 5. The table shows the number of gallons of gasoline in a car's gas tank after the car has been driven X miles. When these data are graphed on a coordinate grid, the points all lie on the same line. What are the slope and the y-intercept of this line? So since this is x and this is y, we have to find our slope first, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is our slope formula that we talked about yesterday. So here we're going to label our point x1, y1, which is our first point, and then we just need to pick any other point that we want to. I'll go ahead and skip all the decimals and go down to the whole numbers and make this my x2, y2. Next, I plug into the formula, so y2 minus y1, that's going to be 12 minus 15 over 75 minus 0. Now, even if you picked a different point, you should still get the same answer. So here we're going to put control divide. So control divide, and then at the top 12 minus 15, and at the bottom are 75 minus 0. So here my slope has to be negative 1 over 25. So the only one that has a slope of negative 1 over 25 is G. And next, our y-intercept. We talked about the y-intercept. When it's a y-intercept, the coordinate is going to have an x that's 0 and the y is 15. So this is our y-intercept. It's right here on the table. So our y-intercept has to be 15, which means our answer is G. Problem 6. A gym charges a membership fee plus an additional fee per yoga class. The table shows the linear relationship between the number of yoga classes taken and the total cost including the membership fee. Which statement is true? For this one, we're going to go over how to type it in your calculator in lists and spreadsheets. So it says that they're going to charge a membership fee plus an additional fee per yoga class. So the word per class, per hour, per mile, remember that stands for our slope. So if I were to write my equation, y equals mx plus b, the first thing I'm looking at is my slope. What they were talking about per class, per hour, per whatever, this is going to be that amount. So this is the additional fee per yoga class. Next, we also talked about B, the y-intercept. That's the membership fee that they're charging you. Membership fee. So we have to find out both of these using our table. So to do that, I'm going to use my calculator. So everybody pick up your calculator and we're going to go to lists and spreadsheets, which is the fourth app. So in there, you're going to go to the top where it says A and you're going to put X, and where it says B, you're going to put Y. Then I'm going to go down to number 1 and I'm going to start typing in all of my X values. Once I type in all of my X values, make sure that you go back and type in all of your Y values. Once you've typed in all of your X's and your Y's, you want to make sure that you push enter. Don't leave your calculator blinking like this. Make sure to push enter and have them all typed in. Okay, now that they're all typed in, you're going to go ahead and click home. And we will move over to the purple one. So in the purple one, which is data and statistics, at the bottom, you're going to click where it says click to add variable, and you will click X. Over here on this side, you're going to go ahead and click Y. Now the steps for getting our trend line or the line going through all of these dots is on the front of your packet, which says you're going to go to menu 461. So on the front of your packet, you're going to click menu. The steps are 4, analyze graph, 6, regression, and we're going to number 1 because it's mx plus b. So clicking that, here's my equation, which is y equals 3.75x plus 45. So let's go back to our paper, and this is y equals 3.75x plus 45. That means that the additional fee per class is $375. So let's read which statement is true. The additional fee per yoga class is $375. This is true. The additional fee was not $825. The membership fee that started was $45, not $35, and not $42.50. So the correct answer is F.